right, thank you for tuning in. 7 minutes after 11 o'clock. I got a short interview right now about a very important topic. It's that topic about having that conversation with your children. Not that conversation. I haven't. Now, I don't even think I had that conversation with my son when he was little. I don't know if I neglected to do something, but I think he understands it now. He's 27 years old, married. I'm sure he figured it out. Everything I didn't tell him, I'm sure he figured it out the same way I did.
Yep.
On the streets of Manhattan. No. The conversation we're referring to right now is the conversation that you might have with your adult children. I have not had this conversation with my son yet, although he is an adult child. But, my mom had this with me toward the end of her life. I was her adult child, as all of my siblings were. And I remember my mom kind of telling me, this is where the will is. It's in here. And make sure if I leave, make sure if I die. I'm saying even now, after she's gone, I'm still reluctant. I don't like the word dead. You know what I mean? But anyway, she was telling me that when she dies, she wants this to happen, that to happen. And if she has to go to a nursing home, she had some certain things she wanted me to do, and she really didn't want to go to one, but she kind of had. So I guess I'm kind of stumbling over the fact that she did have that conversation with me about some of the things that we perhaps need to tell our adult children about as we get older. Tim Prosch is on the phone. He is the president of something called Contact Point. He's a contributor to the Wall Street Journal and USA Today, so we're very honored to have him on our show. He also appears, by the way, on CNBC, so maybe you know Tim. His book is called The Other Talk, A Boomer's Guide to Talking with Your Adult Children About the Rest of Your Life. Wow, nobody ever has come on the airwaves with us and had this conversation with us about this topic. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Larry. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for being on the air and for this topic. Where are you? Where are you calling in from?
Chicago.
Chicago. All right. And did you have this conversation with your adult children?
I had with my adult children. What I didn't have it was with my parents.
Okay. So you...
And that was really one of the reasons I got started writing this book, is because we had a disastrous end of life for my parents.
Oh, wow.
And so... It was that. I also have done hundreds of interviews with focus groups, actually, with families about their experiences and their parents' last years. And you hear different stories. I kept hearing the same sentiment at the end, which was, "I'll never put my kids through what just happened to me." But unfortunately, they probably will. There's enough emotional barriers that are so imposing that most people don't have this conversation.
Right. Now,
and the other reason I did it was, I don't remember the Terry Schiavo case.
Right, I do.
Where this poor woman was yanked back and forth for 15 years.
Right.
Because nobody had sat down to really write out what she wanted.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of funeral homes, and this, just for the listeners, this is not an ad, this is not an infomercial, but this is the truth. A lot of funeral homes will offer, and in fact, one of the ones that has been a sponsor on this station used to always advertise the pre-planning thing. I'm guessing that's a big part of it, right? So that when you go, your children, it's pretty much all done already.
Yes, but what I try to do with this book is not just talk about end of life, although that's certainly part of the book. But there's enough other issues, like financial issues. Where do you want to live, like you mentioned with your mom?
Right.
Who's going to advocate for my medical needs when I no longer can? And all those issues, along with what are my advance directives, where's my will, etc.
Right,
all those issues is part of the other talk.
Yeah. Is there anything legal about all of this that needs to be done? Like, do we need to have a lawyer involved with this whole part of our lives as far as letting our children? Do I need to get it in writing, in other words?
Not from a lawyer, but what you do need to do is your homework. And one of the things I suggested in the book is that you create a binder that includes all the information that they're going to need as you age. Everything from, as I mentioned, the will and all your financial assets and strategies.
Right.
A lot of people push back on that because they don't want to tell their kids how much money they have. My response is, it's going to end up in their lap anyway, so why wait? And once that binder's done, then they have all the information they're going to need, and then you can sit down with them and walk them through it.
And it would be best to go to an attorney and have the documents drawn up by the attorney and not just go to an office supply store and do it yourself?
Well, if you're talking about legal documents like advance directives and wills, that's certainly something a lawyer should do. But what I'm suggesting is that you accumulate all the information about you, your medical history, what's your diagnosis, where is your money, what kind of insurance plans do you have, what's your medications. All those things are important, and you don't need a lawyer for that.
Do you know, I remember the conversation with my mom, and I remember saying, "Oh, you're not going to die, Mom. Stop talking like that." And that was stupid of me to say. That wasn't it? But
I would say so, yeah.
yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about that. That's why the other talk rarely happens. You're unusual that your mom took the initiative. That's what I'm trying to create.
Well, now, and I'm not trying to pry into your personal circumstances with your parents,
Sure.
but I wanted to tell you that you reminded me of something that didn't happen. That here's what happened for me. I'm not the oldest of my siblings, but I was named the executor of the will because I was the only one who lived nearby. Maybe almost 30 years ago. My brother was stationed in the Azores off the coast of Portugal. He was in the Air Force. Okay. My other brothers were in California and Oregon, and so I was, and they were flying. They were flying to see the birth of one of their grandchildren in the Azores, and so they were fearing, what if the plane goes down? So all of a sudden, I was the third child, suddenly thrust into the position of being the executor, and then of course they didn't crash, and everything worked out well, and sometime later, I'm now, we just went through it about 6 months ago, but I was the executor, and thank goodness I had understanding siblings. Nobody really seemed to mind all that, but that's what they did back then. They kind of told me, look, if the plane goes down, this is where the will is, and this is where this is, and so.
Right. And those are all important things to know, and as I say, end of life is certainly part of this book, but it's not the only part.
No, and I'm sorry I keep going to that, but you're absolutely right. I worked for an assisted living facility for a while, and you're absolutely right. Sometimes that can be a very long-term care.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and what ended up happening with my family is both mom and dad's medical situation went into a deep dive about 8 years ago, to the point where mom couldn't speak and dad had his MS was really making him kind of loopy. And so they're out in Arizona. I'm in Chicago. My two other brothers are in D.C. and St. Louis. And so we had to make the call, and what are we going to do with them? So we brought him back and put him in an assisted living in St. Louis, where my brother was, and they went berserk. They just didn't want to do it. And it finally dawned on us that their friends, their church, their social network is all in their other house in Michigan. And so we brought him back there, and in the middle of the woods, came up with a plan for 24/7 care, and struggled for the next 8 years.
Wow.
On the other hand, my grandmother, at age 80, said, "I'm done with my house. I'm sick of getting it painted and doing the yard. I want to find a place where there's people my age where I can socialize." And she put herself into assisted living, and I remember at her 92nd birthday, she kind of leaned over to me and whispered, "I'm having the time of my life. The best 12 years of my life."
That's the one thing that I hope we all recognize, is that, it's not so bad. And the social aspect, she was exactly right. Smart lady. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that the talk that we're talking about doesn't have to be that lengthy. I mean, if you have all your ducks in a row, so to speak, you can probably just say, this is what you need to know, and here's where the stuff is.
Right. Well, what's funny, and I've talked to a number of people who've actually gone through it, it can go on for hours because you're kind of talking about your family. And so, you start, talking about, well, where do you want to live? And kind of go through that whole conversation. And for most people, when they come out of it, the kids are ecstatic. They're really, feel like they're part of something. And one of the reasons that people don't do this is because they feel like they're losing control. It often happens with older people. My response is, you're not losing control, you're sharing control.
I think you're absolutely right, Tim.
And if you approach the other talk with that attitude, it's going to work much better.
Tim Prosch is our guest. The book is called The Other Talk. We need to run. How do we get the book?
Well, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can go onto my website, which is theothertalk.com,
Okay.
and you can learn more about the book. You can get a free chapter if you want. You can also buy the book there. You can go to Amazon, and they sell both the book and the ebook. And you can certainly go to any of the major bookstores around the country, and you will find it there too.
Okay, excellent. Tim, thank you for being on the air with us. Very important topic, and as I mentioned, we've never touched on this one before, so thank you for bringing it to our attention. And you're right, it really needs to be something we speak about. Well, when Alex gets back from San Francisco, I'll have to have the talk.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, Larry and Robin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. All right, we'll take a little break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
This is a public notice. Local residents can now save thousands of dollars on their next car, truck, or SUV. It's not a tent sale, because no tent is big enough to hold this many cars. It's OcalaForSale.com. Say goodbye to sticker shock. OcalaForSale.com has thousands of vehicles with no stickers at all. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge, undercutting, loss proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Frederick's Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Frederick's Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Frederick's Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance.
News Talk 1370, WOCA invites you to discover your full business potential. News Talk Radio is the perfect environment for your advertising. WOCA's News Talk format pinpoints information-hungry, better educated, high-income adults, so use us to talk to them. Call 732-8000, 732-8000. We're Ocala News Talk Radio. News Talk 1370, WOCA.
Hey, I'm Gary.
And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
How good does it get?
Golf has long been considered to be sport's most prestigious game, and WOCA has your connection to everything in the golf world. Every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m., tune in for Let's Talk Golf with your host, PGA professional and teacher to the stars, Jim Beckett, and operations manager for the Links of Spruce Creek South, Darren Irwin, right here on The Source. Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line and a new spoiler and a new trunk.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Don't ever miss a single edition of the Mike Huckabee Show. We're going to have a whole lot of fun talking the big issues of the day. We'll talk to the newsmakers and the issues that made them a newsmaker, as well as we'll bring you some entertainment, some fun. You never know what's going to happen on the Mike Huckabee Show. Don't miss it.
Join Mike Huckabee every weekday from noon to 3 exclusively on WOCA The Source.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Where in Florida, the flood watch is in effect. It'll be cloudy with periods of rain today and tonight into tomorrow, along with a couple of heavier thunderstorms. Watch for flooding downpours. The high today, 81 to 85. Tonight's low, 71 to 75. And the high tomorrow, 81 to 85. We had a Thursday, intervals of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm in spots and a high of 85 to 89. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, thank you for tuning in again this Tuesday morning. Nice looking morning. Earlier it was raining. It looks like it's cleared up considerably. On the phone is a gentleman who's been with us before. C. William Jones is on the phone, and we've learned we can call him Bill, so I'll just do that from now on. He's the chairman of ProtectSeniors.org. Listen to this. Listen to this. And I mentioned this morning, and if you're out there and this applies to you, definitely pay attention to what Bill's going to say. IBM has canceled, I guess, if I understand this right, the earned retirement health care benefits and supplemental health coverage for more than 110,000 U.S. retirees. Or maybe that is the actual number, 110,000 U.S. retirees. Is that scary enough? So he's going to be on the air right now to talk about this. After 10 years, about 10 years ago, it says IBM capped the amount it would contribute to retirees' health plans. IBM claims it is terminating health care because retirees will not be able to afford their health plans into the future. Under IBM's current plan options, the company says it anticipates retiree costs for their health care plan that will triple by the year 2020. What happened to affordable health care? Let's see what this means to all of us, because I'm guessing there's nothing that is isolated, and the 110,000 folks who this applies to definitely need to know. Good morning, C. William Jones. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. How are you, Larry?
I'm okay. Where are you right now?
I'm in Texas.
All right. Are you? Were you with IBM?
No, I'm not. I was with Verizon, what is now Verizon.
Okay.
But the IBM and Verizon and companies like that are, pretty much organized in the same fashion, and I find it very disturbing to see what IBM is doing. I think unless you work for a company like that, you might not understand what the commitment was made by these companies when you were hired on. And I think it's important to understand that we signed on, as well as the IBM people, for a compensation package, not just a pay, not just a check.
That's right. Month. Yeah.
It was a compensation package, and the deal was, if you signed on, you would be secure. You'd not only get a fair wage, but you'd get a good pension. You'd get health care for your entire family. You'd have savings plans and various other things of that nature. And that really was the security that you were buying into. And you work 30 or 40 years for a company and retire, and then have them renege on this commitment.
That is crazy.
Is unconscionable.
Yeah. So are these 110,000 people already out in the cold, or is this something that's going to happen unless we do something?
I'm not sure there's anything that can be done, very frankly. The legislation is really required in order to stop this sort of thing. And our organization, ProtectSeniors.org, is putting together a piece of legislation now, and we're hoping to get a sponsor for the legislation that would prevent this from happening in the future.
Did the decision by IBM have anything at all to do with the Affordable Care Act?
Yes, I believe it did. I think that there are many other companies that are teetering on the edge here and deciding what they're going to do. One of the problems is you don't really know exactly what the Affordable Care Act is going to look like.
I know.
Exactly.
I know.
So how can you plan if you don't know what it's going to be? I know that Verizon has decided not to do anything, at least in 2014. But again, there's no promise that they won't do something like what is going on with IBM. It really is a very tough thing for retirees, and they'll be on their own, figuring out what kind of a plan that they need to get and what it's going to cost them. IBM is going to be paying them some amount toward their health care, but as you can see, they're talking about the cost of health care tripling over the next so many years. You think that IBM's going to triple the amount of money that they're going to be advancing to the people to cover their health care, or at least a portion of the health care?
Do you know,
I rather doubt that.
A few years ago, I had the opportunity to work with people living in an assisted living facility, and I was the activities director. But one of the things I did was I would often go pick up prescriptions for them, and the difference was unbelievable. There was one little lady, and her husband had been a police officer, maybe in New Jersey or New York or something, and he had such a great health package that I would literally go to pick up a few $100s worth of medications and pay $1 or $2. It was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And then other people who had no real good plan, I mean, thank goodness they had a savings, because they were forking out the full amount in many of these cases.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I picked up a prescription for my wife at the local CVS store, and they charged me 40 cents.
Wow.
For the prescription.
Good health plan.
And that's, because I have a great prescription drug plan.
Yeah. And so the IBM folks will be out of that whatever it is that they became. Now, does this apply to all of them? Are the 86-year-old guy living in the nursing home, is he going to now be forced to, or is the taxpayer going to pay the bill? How's that going to work for him?
Well, that's a really good question. The way I understand it is that there will be different options that you can in these exchanges. There will be different options, and so you can sign up for what you want or what you can afford. It may not be what you want, but it may have to be what you can afford.
Yeah, right.
If you're a very healthy person, you might be able to get a less expensive plan,
right.
And that would work nicely for you as long as you didn't fall into bad health. All of a sudden, I don't know how that's going to work with you.
Yeah, we all eventually fall into bad health. Yeah.
And this also is the time of year where the Medicare is asking for people to sign up for it. So this has to be a factor also as to what type of Medicare plans the people sign up for, whether it's Part A, B, or whatever else they have.
Exactly. This is people who work for a company like IBM, this was not something they ever had to think about. I think it's going to be very difficult, especially for the elderly, to figure out what they can do and what they have to do. I think it's going to be a very difficult thing for a lot of people.
And does this also cut into their eye health and their dental health?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the exchanges are going to cover.
Oh, wow. Well, I hope the bill that you guys have drafted is something that will correct the problem. How do
we hope so too. It's basically it's a change in the ERISA law that would protect your health care.
How do we help our
not allow companies to renege on their commitments?
Bill, how do we help you help us? I mean, what do we do? Do we go to your website? Do we write to our congressman? What do we do?
Yes, I think going to the website www.protectseniors.org, and there's a lot of information on that website. And if people then sign up to get our emails, then when we have a bill in place, we will be sending out alerts to people, and we have a system that would allow them to write to their congressman and push to get this passed.
Wow. Well, good for you. I love when I hear people standing up for other people, so thank you for doing that and being on the air to help us understand it. I'm guessing you're doing a lot of these radio conversations, so I'm sure you're reaching out to many, many people. The website, again, protectseniors.org. Bill Jones, thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thank you, Larry.
We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit Habitat